This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
But while everybody's here, it's the title unification match for the AWA and the World Class Heavyweight Championship. Jerry Lawler representing the AWA and Kerry Von Erich representing Texas, as you said earlier. 18 minutes and 53 seconds. It's a big deal, but this is a legendary match for a lot of different reasons. Do you want to talk about the match?
And again, I'm going to go back into presentation. The last two matches, and had I not researched and gone back, Conrad, I would have bet money that Lawler went on last. They didn't go on last. The Rock and Roll Express and Robert Fuller and Jimmy Golden with Sylvia closed this show. Okay, now I get it. Lawler and Von Erich, and I'll get to that, they didn't want to leave the pay-per-view on a double disqualification stop match because Kerry Von Erich's bleeding too much. You're going to put the Rock and Roll over and close the show with a babyface win. Nope. That match ended in a double DQ. So you talk about a disaster, but Vince McMahon being spot on. Not one, but the top two matches ended in countouts, throwouts, double DQs, and as good a match as Lawler and Von Erich, and the legendary story that Kerry cut himself with his own blade in the locker room on his bicep. What?
I was hoping you were going to tell the whole story. But the planned finish is there's going to be a referee stoppage due to blood. So just like you've seen, and by the way, 2 weeks after this, or maybe it wasn't 2 weeks after this, there was I'm not sure if it was Starrcade or if it was another one, but they did a Luger finish with Flair where they tried the blood finish. Oh, he's been cut. We got to stop it. I think it was in Maryland. So that one's in the scope. So it's not 13 days later, but the point is it's a famous finish. I mean, they even stopped a Starrcade with Flair and Dusty because the referee, who was a famous boxer, Smoking Joe Frazier, he stopped it for blood loss, which is a boxing finish. So I get the concept. That's what we decide on for the creative here. But, and I'm not trying to pick on anybody, you've got the rather aloof at times, Mr. Von Erich, who we know at different times would be maybe over medicated. And there's stories of guys having to put themselves in their own holds in the matches because he was just a little not present.
We'll get into Daddy Does Dallas next.
He forgets he's got his quote unquote gig taped to his finger. So he goes to scratch his arm. Oh man, I'm a little itchy back here, and zip, opens himself right up. And now they've got to find a way to explain that was going to be our finish. How do we get him bleeding right up front? And how do we cover for it, but not stop the match immediately? You want to talk about snake bit. This whole show is snake bit, but the main event, my goodness, what a story.
It's bizarre. Another little tidbit that I got the pleasure of seeing. So they have an interview set. Conrad, I know you didn't watch this back, and that's okay.
No, I watched it last year.
Okay.
Start to finish, because I couldn't believe I never watched it. And then when I got done, I was mad I watched it.
Okay. So I just start giggling to myself because George Napolitano's at ringside taking pictures. It's
I think Bill Apter is too. I mean, it feels like a happening.
I'll tell you a Bill Apter story right here.
Okay.
Here's where I'm going with it. So probably after about the fifth match, so they do interviews backstage on the pre-tape set, if you will, but they're also doing them at ringside. And Bill Apter's there, and he's going to give the Inspirational Wrestler of the Year award. And Jerry Lawler has chased the world title for 9 years, or blah, 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 blah. And he finally climbed that mountain. He became the AWA World Heavyweight Champion. And tonight, I want to award him with the Inspirational Wrestler of the Year award plaque. Well, Jerry. Okay, and the 1988 awarded by the voters, and they announced it, and Jerry never came out, and they're like, oh, let's go on to the next match. I mean, from a production layout, from the pre-tapes, and there's 4 or 5 just built around the girls, and Kerry had a backstage pre-tape with his daughter sitting in his lap that wasn't maybe a 5-star promo, if you will. And then later they did get Lawler on set. He, after, gives him the inspirational award. I mean, I love Bill, but they're filling time with this pay-per-view, about to do a unification match, and they're giving the inspirational wrestler era. It was such a hodgepodge of all over the place. But once they got going, and Kerry had already gigged himself and all that, but once all the story got going, in spite of everything, they did the claw and Lawler's. They had a really good, intense brawl. But man, when that referee stopped it, oh God, I was in pain 30 years later, just going, they really asked people to pay money for this unification match, and they gave them a non-finish in a unification match on pay-per-view. I mean, I just, you can't even really fathom, and I'm not throwing darts, but in now having the luxury and the opportunity of hindsight 2020, but you fast forward however many years, not one, but 2 main events. Like, why didn't the Rock and Roll Express beat Robert and Jimmy?
Twice. Get even more from the hottest new podcast going, My World with Jeff Jarrett, over at adfreeshows.com. Let me get granular here for a minute, folks. Not only can you get the entire My World episode library with 0 ads, new episodes come your way each week early, ad-free, and on video starting at just $9 a month. We've also got tons of exclusive My World bonus content waiting for you, plus unique interactive experiences with your old pal, Double J. You get to jump on and ask Jeff questions, and if you joined us in Chicago this year for Top Guy Weekend, you got to hang out the entire weekend. 100% the best value in all of wrestling. Strut on over to adfreeshows.com right now to sign up. Let my family save your family some cash. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket, but we will save you money. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of how much. SaveWithConrad.com. It wouldn't have mattered worth a damn.
They went on last and sent the people happy home. But guess what? Do you know what the outshot of the pay-per-view was?
I don't recall.
Okay, and that's okay. So we had 1 non-finish, 2 non-finishes, and then at the end, Stagger Lee and Larry Nelson are giving to go home, and Vern Gagne sends them home. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's how they went out. Truly like a boxing pay-per-view. As flat can be. Is a mess.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.